most cruise ships set sail from Norfolk during the warmer months of the year. Most of them are offering 7- and 10-night cruises down to the eastern and western parts of the Caribbean, and occasionally some of the ships are also setting sail for Bermuda. Now come and get a view to your right on the other side of the cruise ship terminal, a very impressive U.S. warship. The ship I'm about to point out to you this afternoon, one of 4 Iowa-class battleships, which were in fact the largest battleships ever built, with the exception of 2 constructed by the Japanese during the Second World War. The first of the Iowa-class ships built was BB-61, which was the USS Iowa. BB-62 was USS New Jersey. BB-63, the USS Missouri. And to our right, the fourth and last of the class constructed, to your right, BB-64, the battleship USS Wisconsin. This ship was built in the Philadelphia Naval Shipyard and commissioned on the 16th of April, 1944. All 4 of the Iowa-class ships saw action during the Second World War, including the Wisconsin, and won 5 battle stars for engagements against the Japanese, as well as some of the Navy's aircraft. No matter what platform it is launched from, Harpoon becomes a low-flying, sea-stream missile. One that is designed to fly only 15 to 20 feet above the surface of the water, which makes it almost impossible for an enemy ship to detect on radar till it is right upon them. For that reason, Harpoon has a better than 95% kill rate. The missile has a range of 80 nautical miles, delivering to its target a high explosive warhead with armor-piercing capability. The ship also was outfitted with 4 Vulcan phalanx close-in weapons. We'll tell you more about Vulcan phalanx, some of the ships at the base later today. But as you may have guessed, what our Navy had left aboard the Iowa-class ships when they were recommissioned were the big guns. Predominantly large guns you'll find aboard the Wisconsin are in fact the largest guns ever deployed on a U.S. warship. These are 16-inch 50 caliber guns. The Wisconsin carries 9 of them on board. There are 3 guns situated to a turret. Looking directly to your right, you'll get a great view of the aft turret of the ship. There are 2 other turrets identical to that are ahead of us who just support the ship's main structure. Barrels on these guns just under 67 foot in length. The base is currently home to just under 90 warships. Nearly 100,000 men and women have called Norfolk their home port. And adjacent to this base and shore ahead of us to our right, you would find the Naval Air Station, roughly 150 aircraft at the station here. And all this base covers an area of about 3,400 acres. It's the largest military base in the entire world. Piers ahead of us and to our right are often referred to as the DNS, or the destroyer and submarine piers, and the piers here are also numerically numbered. For example, the first pier coming up on our right is Pier 1. On this side of Pier 1 is a large white ship with the red crosses, which is the United States Naval Hospital Ship Comfort. Our Navy operate and maintain 2 hospital ships at Comfort, one port here on the east coast of the United States out of Norfolk, Virginia. A ship identical to her named Mercy, ported out on the west coast out of San Diego, California. Initially, the Comfort to our right and her sister ship Mercy were both San Clemente class commercial oil tankers. At one time, the tankers were used to carry crude oil from Alaska down to California. The Navy acquired the tankers many years ago, converting both of them into 1,000-bed hospital ships. Aboard the Comfort are 12 operating rooms and all the modern amenities you would find in any modern hospital in the U.S. found aboard our hospital ships like the Comfort and Mercy, or in the known as Aegis. The word itself, Aegis, is a Greek word that means shield. The shield referred to on these ships is a superior air defense system. As the primary function or goal of the Aegis-equipped ship is to escort and to defend the battle group from airstrike. Yet these ships are quite versatile. They can strike land-based targets from hundreds of miles away, engage and destroy enemy surface ships and submarines, but they specialize primarily in air defense. Today at Naval Station Norfolk, we'll be looking at 2 different classes of ships that are equipped with the Aegis system. There are ships of the Ticonderoga class and ships of the Arleigh-Burke class. So let's start off by looking on this side of Pier 2, the second pier of the base, and on this end of the pier closest to us, we'll find a warship bearing the hull number 64 on her bow. That ship is named the USS Gettysburg, and the Gettysburg is a Ticonderoga or Aegis class guided missile cruiser. Ships of this class were the first in the fleet to come online with the Aegis system. These ships were being built back in the mid-80s to the 90s. The Navy built 27 of them. 22 of the 27 remain in operation today. 26 of the 27, and they, including the ship ahead of us to your right, were named for famous battles. That ship was named for the Battle of Gettysburg. Now, the other class of ship in the fleet equipped with the Aegis systems are those ships of the Arleigh-Burke class. If you look right behind the Gettysburg, you'll find a smaller warship coming in view. That ship's hull number 66, and her name is the USS Gonzales, and that is an Arleigh-Burke class guided missile destroyer. This is the other class of ship at the base today we'll see that carries the Aegis system aboard. So Aegis is a fast-action digital computer defense system. At the heart of the system, these ships carry aboard a type of radar. If you'll direct your attention to the upper structures of the ships I've just pointed out to you, you'll find up under upper structures what look like some 8-sided or octagon-shaped plates. These plates are painted a slightly different shade of gray in color than the surrounding area on the ships, but if you located those 8-sided plates, you've just located a SPY-1 radar. Because SPY-1 is a fixed or a stationary radar system, each of the ships to your right carry 4 of them aboard. Radars are situated so they'll emit signals in a 360-degree radius completely around the ship. What this radar allowed these ships to do is to track over 1,000 targets at the same time. While tracking all these targets, it can keep tabs on friendly aircraft and friendly ships that operate within their vicinity. At the same time, they can also determine those targets which are considered to be hostile. Once a target has been verified as hostile, Aegis has the ability of selecting an appropriate weapon, then launching that weapon to engage and destroy the threat. By the way, that entire process from start to finish takes only fractions of a second, which is really amazing. These ships are heavily armed up on the bow of the number 64, a fully automated 5-inch 54 caliber gun. Again, that's a standard gun we'll find on most of the ships at the base today. Effective range of the weapon is 13.5 miles. The amount will pump out 20 rounds per minute. The weight of the 5-inch 54 projectile about 70 pounds. Cruisers like the Gettysburg carry 2 of those guns aboard, one up on the bow, the other on the stern. Now, if you look behind the Gettysburg at the Arleigh Burke, which is the Gonzales, that is a noticeably smaller ship in size, and she carries only a single 5-inch gun mount up on her bow. These ships also carry on board close-in weapons called Vulcan phalanx, so we'll tell you more about it in a couple minutes. In addition to the gun systems, the ships to your right will carry on board an array of missiles. While these ships will find it interesting, most of their weaponry is actually launched through what is called VLS, or vertical launch systems. Simply put, missiles are stored and launched through vertical cells located below the ship's main deck. On a cruiser like number 64, the Gettysburg, between 2 VLS launchers on that ship, she can carry up to 122 missiles situated in vertical launch. The ship behind her, which is the Gonzales, a little smaller in size, will carry up to 90 missiles in her VLS or vertical launch systems. But the advantage to heavy missiles launched through VLS on these ships to allow the ships on our right a rapid offload of many types of missiles at the same time, enabling them to engage and to destroy many different targets at once. This would greatly increase the survivability of these ships as well as their capability. Kings Bay, Georgia, only attack subs in Norfolk. We're only going to see one sub at the base today. That sub is located on the Sun of Pier 3 about midway down. The submarine is painted totally black in color. The submarine to your right has quite a bit of scaffolding built up around the sail and conning tower. So if you located that sub, again, she's on the Sun of Pier 3 about midway down. You're looking at a 688, a Los Angeles class fast attack sub. They're not the newest attack subs in the fleet, but they're considered super high speed, super quiet, and deep diving. That submarine is 360 feet long, 33 foot across her beam, and will carry a crew of 127. Powered by one atomic reactor, the core and reactor plant on that submarine is expected to power her for 15 to 20 years between refuelings, equivalent to a distance of over 1 million miles in steaming time. She has a speed on the surface of 20 knots, dived about 30 knots plus. Top speed is classified information. If you did not know, a knot is equal to about 1 1/8 of a mile an hour. Primary mission of an attack sub like the one to your right would be to engage and destroy the enemy submarine. That is their primary mission, but yet the subs are quite versatile. That sub to your right carries aboard the long-range land attack missile called Tomahawk. It allows her to strike land-based targets from hundreds of miles away. She can engage the enemy surface ship over the horizon with a low-flying sea-screen missile called Harpoon. But their primary mission is to engage the enemy submarine, and for that they carry on board the world's most advanced torpedo. It's called the Mark 48. The Mark 48 is a heavyweight, wire-guided torpedo which has an effective range of 23 miles and may travel at speeds in excess of 70 miles an hour. The ability to track and chase the enemy submarine to depths of well over 3,000 feet. When that torpedo reaches its target, delivers a 650-pound high explosive warhead. The one sub we saw on Pier 3 to the right, again, the Los Angeles class fast attack sub. The Arlington is one of the Navy's newer San Antonio class LPDs or landing platform docks. Newest type of assault ship in the fleet. We kind of briefly saw one of the ships of the same class earlier at the beginning of the tour, number 19, the Mesa Verde. Well, these ships work on the same principles as the other assault ships in the fleet. They have large interior well decks that fill with water, drop a gate on their stern for floating in and out landing craft and hover. Ships to your right, there's a weapon on them called Vulcan phalanx. We're going to try and point out to you. Let's point that out to you on the Bulkley, the ship on the right side of the pier. Focus your attention on the upper aft structure of the Bulkley. You'll see what look like 2 great satellite dishes. Once you locate those two satellite dishes, look directly below them. You'll find what looks like an elongated light gray cylindrical dome. The dome is on top of a great turret, and if you have really good eyes or binoculars, you'll find a cluster of 6 barrels, black in color, which extend from the side of the great turret. If you located that, you just located the close-in weapon system called Vulcan phalanx. In essence, that's the last line of defense for the ship. The other weapons on these ships fail to knock out a low-flying Sea-Scream missile or possibly an aircraft that may have slipped to the ship's initial defenses. Last chance to engage and destroy the threat is to use Vulcan phalanx. It's a radar-controlled Gatling gun. When a weapon's radar locks in on the target, the theoretical rate of fire 4,500 rounds a minute, equates to about 75 rounds per second. The effective range is 3 miles. Within a mile and a half, that weapon is rated at nearly 100% accurate. It uses a 20mm ammunition. Projectiles are constructed of tungsten carbide, so dense it has armor-piercing capability. On the surface, combatants will see the base that they carry aboard that close-in weapon. Again, it's called Vulcan phalanx.
Much better, but it's...
It was titled Captain Phillips. Bainbridge was involved in that situation when that movie was made about. And it pertains to a container ship named the Maersk Alabama that was sailing in waters off the coast of Somalia. When that container ship was overrun by 4 Somali pirates boarding the Maersk Alabama, they took control of that ship. After being on the container ship for several hours, they departed from that ship on a lifeboat that they launched from the Maersk Alabama. With them, they took the captain of the ship, Richard Phillips, as a hostage. Their goal was to take Phillips back to the Somali coastline and hold him for ransom. And before that lifeboat could make it back to the Somali coastline, it was going to run out of fuel. The Bainbridge to your right came on the scene. The Navy, being aware of the situation taking place aboard that container ship, had placed aboard the Bainbridge a team of elite Navy SEALs. Some of them were snipers, some of them were negotiators. Upon the arrival of the Bainbridge, they talked one of the pirates off the lifeboat to come aboard the Bainbridge for some negotiating. And it left 3 pirates and Richard Phillips still aboard the lifeboat. At that time, that lifeboat was under tow behind the Bainbridge as they had run out of fuel. At that time, the Navy set their SEALs back on back deck of the Bainbridge. Their snipers set up, and when the time was right, they took their shots, eliminating the 3 pirates aboard the lifeboat with Richard Phillips. Rescued Richard Phillips, and that's the ship that happened on that we just passed to our right, the USS Bainbridge, and she was being replenishment ship number 13 is the Medgar Evers. She was the 13th and last of this class constructed. Jokingly, the Navy had nicknamed all 13 of those ships, including the Medgar Evers, their super floating long march at sea. Ships like the Navy's Ticonderoga class cruises. Again, these cruises were the first in the fleet to come along with the Aegis system. They were building these ships back in the mid-80s to the 90s. And right behind number 55, on either side of the pier behind her, are 2 more Arleigh class guided missile destroyers. In over 60 of that class in the fleet today, they make up the largest percentage of survey ships now serving in the United States Navy. Next ship we point out to is one that's going to be easy to see. She's a large ship bearing the number 3 of Pioneer Island. It's USS Kearsarge. In the very beginning of the tour this afternoon, we pointed out to you a ship identical to the Kearsarge. In fact, it was the first ship we pointed out to you today. Number 5 was the USS Baton. Kearsarge here right is identical to her. We mentioned at that time, right into that class in operation. They all have 600-bed hospitals. Next pier coming up on our right is Pier 11. And on this side of Pier 11, a good view of an Arleigh class guided missile destroyer. Number 81 is the USS Sir Winston Churchill. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the last piers of the base coming up on our right and ahead of us are often referred to as the aircraft carrier piers. Those are piers 11, 12, and 14. If you're wondering what happened to Pier 13, there is no Pier 13 at Naval Station. The Navy is superstitious about that number like the rest of us. But these last piers coming up on our right, we will also see today 3 of the largest and 3 of the mightiest warships in the world. On the opposite side of Pier 11, the newest commissioned carrier in the United States Navy, that ship bearing the hull number 78 up on Pioneer Island, is the USS Gerald Ford. The Ford was commissioned in July of last year, not even yet a year old. Ford has already passed her sea trials, but has not yet been deployed yet. On the opposite side of Pier 11, the newest commissioned carrier in the fleet, and she's also the lead ship of this new class of carrier constructed. The next 2 carriers we'll see in Naval Station Norfolk now coming into view are Nimitz-class ships. We currently have 10 Nimitz carriers in the fleet today. Number 72 is the USS Abraham Lincoln, beyond the Lincoln. Another Nimitz carrier just like her, CVN 75, which is named USS Harry S. So 10 carriers of the Nimitz class in service, and the Gerald Ford online now today, meaning we now have 11 carriers serving the fleet. We can operate with 11 strike groups, which is pretty amazing. Our Navy would classify all 3 of these ships to your right as super carriers because these ships are over 1,000 foot in length. In fact, all 3 of them are the same length. All 3 ships to your right are 1,092 foot long. The extreme west abreast of the flight decks on the Nimitz-class ships like the Lincoln and also the Harry Truman. Those ships are 252 foot across the widest part of their flight decks. The Gerald Ford to your right, her flight deck is just a little wider at 256.5 foot wide. Structure we'll find on the flight deck of these ships is called the island. That's where most of their operations are controlled. And on the island of the Abraham Lincoln, she'll bear the hull number 72, telling us that she was the 72nd consecutively planned aircraft carrier for the United States Navy. Bob will give you an idea or a concept of how big these ships are. The flight deck on one of those Nimitz-class carriers covers an area of 4.56 acres. The flight deck on the Gerald Ford is slightly larger. On the flight deck of any of these carriers to your right, they can have 4 football games going on at the same time, and they would still have room for spectators. When they're fully loaded, about 39 feet of these ships are below the surface of the water. Channel depths in this harbor run between 50 to 55 foot deep. These ships carry several million gallons of fuel aboard. They refuel a lot of the fleet that go to sea with them, as well as all the aircraft that they carry. Technically, each ship to your right will carry between 100 to 110 tactical aircraft. More than likely, when these ships deploy, they do so with about 80 to 85 aircraft, and that would depend on the type and size that they're using. Aircraft on all 3 ships to your right are launched into the air by the use of catapults. The Nimitz carriers, like the Harry Truman and the Abraham Lincoln, those ships launch aircraft into the air by the use of steam-powered catapults. The Gerald Ford, back to your right, is something radically different aboard her. She's the first carrier ever constructed by the Navy in the entire world, launching aircraft into the air by the use of an electromagnetic catapult system. Capable of launching their first aircraft in 1 minute, 1 every 15 seconds or after, and these aircraft will launch into the air at the speeds of up to 165 miles an hour. Now, these ships also are equipped with flight elevators. If you look directly to your right at Abe Lincoln, number 72, you can get a fairly good view down her starboard right side. Kind of in this angle, if you look down the side of the ship along the pier, you'll see what look like some large platforms that hang off the side of the ship and over the dock. Those are flight elevators. These ships carry a total of 4 of them on board, 3 down their starboard side and 1 on the larboard port side. As you may have guessed, they're used to bring aircraft from the hangar deck to the flight deck. You can do so one aircraft about every 7 seconds. The 3 ships to your right are all atomic power, each one of them powered by 2 large atomic reactors. The cores and reactor plants on these ships are expected to power them for 25 years or longer between refuelings, equivalent to a distance of over 1 million miles of steaming hot. Reactors on these ships are designed to generate steam, and most of that steam is used to turn their 4 steam turbines, and combined may generate up to 280,000 shaft horsepower. You'll find it hard to believe the ships to your right having top speeds of very close to 50 miles an hour. That looks impossible to push anything that large. The air resistance that vast, much less the water resistance. For the air wing aboard the Nimitz-class ships like the Truman and also the Abe Lincoln, each of those ships with the air wing aboard carry a crew of 6,000. Gerald Ford, back to your right, is a new ship. She's also highly automated. The automation aboard has allowed that ship to carry roughly 1,500 fewer crew than those of the Nimitz-class. So the Ford puts to sea, she does so with a crew of about 4,500.